Namaskar. We are having a glimpse of Geeta and Dnyaneshwari. Today, 5th chapter, 26 to 29th verse. कामक्रोध वियुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसाम् अभितो ब्रह्म निर्वाणम वर्तते विदितात्मनाम. It means the person who happens to be the yogi has gone beyond the greed and angriness in his life, and his mind remains in his control, and he has become one with unison with the God. He has become yogi, the bhakta, and living in this body, his body also becomes Brahma Tattva. That's, I mean, Chaitanya Mahikaya. That is what Dnyaneshwari Maharaj always say. Okay. Now Dnyaneshwari Maharaj, what is saying? जी विषयापासून हिरतले चित्त आपुले आपण जिंतले ते निश्चित जेत सुतले चेतीसी. You see, if mind remains one with the God, it doesn't get involved in all this. I was going to use that word, the nonsense. He is always that person does always the sensible things. Once I used the nonsense word and people didn't like. What do you mean? Are we doing nonsensical things? I said, you ask yourself, because we are the best judge of ourselves. Then everybody kept quiet. I mean, in the class it has happened, and I allowed people to raise the questions. Unless the questions are raised, unless they know the good, bad, and they know all the sides of the coin, how they will understand? They are just kids. Okay, so let them raise the questions. I don't mind if any kind of question is asked, but that should be beyond the limitations of the humanity. We are not devils. Okay, just remember. Okay, जी विषयापासून हिरतले चित्त आपले आपण जिंतले ते निश्चित जे ते सुतले चितीची ते परब्रह्म निर्वाण जे आत्मविदांचे कारण तेची ते पुरुष जाणा पंडकुमारा. हे ते ऐसे कैसे झाले जे देहीचे ब्रह्मत्व आले, हे ही पुससी भले तरी भले संक्षेपे सांगू. How those people have become one with the God, with the Brahma Tattva, how they have become Atmavid, means they have become one with the God, and whatever they speak, that becomes spoken by the God. I mean, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say Brahma Vakya. I mean, whatever he used to tell. For example, someone asked him what kind of sadhana I should do, so he said, you take this now, for example, Ram Ram. So that becomes Brahma Vakya. So if he takes that kind of a name, that's all. He doesn't have to do anything else. Of course, he has to live within the humanitarian limitations. That is also important. So his body also becomes Chaitanya Mahikaya, Brahma Tattva. And how it becomes, that Sri Krishna is going to tell, and Arjuna is asking to him. Sparshan krutva bahirбхамьяश्च chakshu chaivantere bhruvam prana pano samo krutva nasabhyantar charino. Now what happens that reading slow is a very big problem. The outside things, for example, eating ice cream and all those things, he knows the limitations of how much is needed, the food, the water. He takes that much, and other times he lives away from that and does his own work. And then though these eyebrows are there, in between Adhyay Chakra, he focuses all his mind, soul and everything. And then Pran and Apan means, from my, this is the right hand side for me, this is left hand side. You might be seeing exactly opposite. So right hand Pinga, and this is Ida Nadi is there, and Sushumna is in center. So the person does the pranayam, balances the inhalation and exhalation. Once that is balanced, then the heartbeats also get balanced, pulse rate is also get balanced, mind becomes stable, brain becomes stable, and then you achieve. I mean, once you take the shwas, then you stops, and that stopping is known as Rechak, and then you leave the shwas, means inhalation, stop, exhalation. That is what pranayama is all about. How you do from this nadi, what this nadi, what from this side, from that side, or 1, 4, 8, 1, 2, 4. There are ratios. So that is immaterial. But you remember that ultimate aim is becoming unison with the God. Once everything is united over here, Brahmarandra, then you become unison with the God. That is what is given here. Okay. सो तरी वैराग्याचे आधारे जेही विषय दौडून बाहेर एक शरीर एकंदरे केले मने. सो स्टॉप्स आउटसाइड द माइंड गोइंग आउटसाइड अँड ही remains unison with the God, and his mind also becomes stable and stays with the God. सहजे ती संधी भेटी जेथे भूपल्लवा पडे घाटी तेथे पाठीमोरी दिठी पारखोनिया. So he brings all his energies over and he, as a Sakshi Bhava, he looks from behind. It is given here, I am just translating. जे वेळी गगनी लय मना पावने कीचे. So mind, body, soul, everything gets united over here. जे तर हे संसार चित्र उमटे तो मनरूप पटू फाटे जैसे सरोवर आटे मग प्रतिभाने. Now in the childhood, that person he has beat me like that. He feels at some place that somebody has beat him. He feels, somewhat insulted, and he cries like that. A lot of things have impact on our mind. But what happens when the mind is patu fate means what? Where the TV screen is there, if it is broken, now what is left? If nothing is there, what is there? The God is there. Or otherwise, the mind is a kind of, the lake. If legs gets evaporated, what is there? What is there? Then Brahmadattva is there. तैसे मन पण मुदल जाय मग अहम भावाधिक के आहे म्हणून शरीरेची ब्रह्म होय अनुभवितो. So mind loses his everything. He loses his egotism, and he loses his body senses, that person. आणि म्हणून शरीराची ब्रह्म हे अनुभवतो. He experiences that in his life. भोक्ताराम यज्ञ तपसाम सर्व लोक महेश्वरम सुहृदम सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा माम शांति पृच्छति. Now what happens? That we saw during the Brahmarpanam Brahmavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmavitena Gantam Brahma Karma Samadhina, that yajna is there, a person who is performing yajna is there, and the upabhog means the realizing soul is there behind all these things. So there are triputi is there. So this person, what happens? He comes to realize that all the bodies are, there is a Paramatma behind all these things, and he is taking upabhog, means he is experiencing the sadness and happiness of each and every human being, or each and every species, or each and every entity. It is ultimately Paramatma that is suffering because of us. If you do good, he will also be happy. That's what is the message over here. And that is why then once he become realized soul, he realized this, and he lives in forever peace. That's all he wants to say. Okay. आम्ही मागा हन सांगितले. जे देहीची ब्रह्मत्व पावले ते येणे मागे आले म्हणून या. Last time I told you that if his body becomes Chaitanya Kaya, so Chaitanya Kaya means body, because he becomes a realized soul. So you should understand how he has become that. आणि नियमांचे डोंगर अभ्यासाचे सागर कर्मने हे पार पातले गे. He has done a lot of studies, himself and the world, inside, outside, and he has done yama, niyam, asana, yoga, and all this pranayama and all those things, and then his samadhi is there. So what asanas public are doing, that is what is people call yoga. But yoga doesn't mean only asana. Yoga means you become one with the God. That is real yoga. Just remember that. ते आपण वे करून निर्लेप प्रपंचाचे घेतले मग साचाचे रूप होऊन ठेवले. सो हिज माइंड बिकम्स निर्लेप, मीन्स वॉट एव्हर happening, it doesn't get registered over there. He remembers all the things, but that registration which hurts him and his atmagyan, it doesn't happen no more. It happens. Every example has limitation. प्रपंचाचं घेतले माप साचाचे रूप माप. ही नोज that this is the limitation of all this world. ऐसा योगयुक्तीचा उद्देश जे तर बोलला ऋषिकेश ते तर अर्जुन संदेश म्हणून चमत्कार आला. So now the 4 OVs are devoted to that. Ki Arjuna is thinking something, Shri Krishna realizes it what he is thinking and he tells the answer. जे ते बोलेला ऋषिकेश ते तर अर्जुन संदेश म्हणून चमत्कार. He becomes, oh, that's a miracle. ते देखल्या कृष्णे जाणीतले मग हसवणे पार्थात म्हणले ते काही बा चित्त उवायले ये बोली तुझे. What is Shri Krishna is telling? He is laughing. Oh, that is what you are thinking. I am going to tell that, and I shall tell beyond that as well. तो अर्जुन म्हणे देव परचित्त लक्षणांचं राहावं. You understand what is happening inside the mind of someone. परचित्त, understanding the thoughts of others. भला जाणीतला. जी भाव माणूस माझा. सो यू अंडरस्टँड माय माइंड ॲज वेल. अर्जुन इज सेइंग म्या जे काही विवरून पुसाय ते आधीच कळले देवे तरी बोलिले त्याची सांगा विवळ करू नये. सो व्हॉट आर आय एम गोइंग टू आस्क यू अंडरस्टँड इट अँड देन यू टेल द आन्सर एज वेल. यू आर ग्रेट श्रीकृष्ण. एरवी तरी अवधारात जो दावेला तुम्ही अनुसरा तो पाहुण्यावनी पावताना सोपा जैसा. Now you just tell me what is Sankhya Yoga, what is Yoga, and how it can be achieved, and in a pranjal means simple language. म्हणून एक वेळ देवा तोची पडताळ घ्यावा विस्तारित तरी सांगावं साध्य तुझी. सा आदी आणि अंत. स मीन्स विथ एक्झाम्पल. आदी मीन्स the start and anta means the end. You tell me with examples and with all the details. तेव्हा कृष्ण म्हणते हो का तुझा मार्ग गमला नाही का तरी काय झालं ऐकीचं का सुखे बोलो. श्रीकृष्ण ओ यू लाईक दिस व्हेरी मच. आय एम गोइंग टू टेल यू इन डिटेल्स. नाव दिस इज द ओवी स्वामीजी माय सद्गुरू यूज टू लाईक व्हेरी मच. अर्जुना तू परिससी परिसोनी अनुष्ठीसी तरी आम्हासीची काय वाणी काय सी सांगावयाची. माय मदर ऑल्सो यूज टू लाईक दिस की if you listen carefully I shall tell you more stories. For example, my grandfather, my father also. So Arjun, you listen, then you take views from others and yourself and try to understand it from so many directions, and you take the good from that and you try to act as well. Your thoughts become action, and that is taking you to the karma yoga and you are becoming yogi. I mean, then if you are trying so hard, why shouldn't I tell you more and more? Beautiful. Adhis chitta mayache. So what is that OV? Arjuna tu pariyasi. Sorry, Arjuna tu parisasi. Parisoni anushtisi. तरी आम्हासेची वाणी काय सी सांगायची. So why should I keep everything in my bank? I shall give away the whole bank to you. That only Shri Krishna can say, and he has done that. आधीच चित्त मायचे वरी मिशे झाले पर्यंताचे आता ते अद्भुत पण स्नेहाचे कवन जाणे. Already Shri Krishna is like mother, and after this Arjuna is taking interest, then why should not he tell it? ते म्हणो कारुण्य रसाची वृष्टी किम नवया स्नेहाची सृष्टी हे असो नेडीचे दृष्टी हरेची वाण. With that kindness he is looking at that Arjuna like the mother looks at her child, small child. Beautiful. जे अमृताची ओतली की प्रेमाची पिऊन मातली म्हणून अर्जुन महे गुंतली निघून. माय चाइल्ड हाऊ ब्युटिफुल. अँड दॅट मदर टेक्स दॅट चाइल्ड नियर हर. ब्युटिफुल. म्हणून विसुरा काय येणे तो ईश्वर आकळा कोणे जो आपुले मान नेणे आपणाची. What I am going to tell about that God who doesn't know how big he is and how infinite he is. How can I tell about him? Now Dnyaneshwari Maharaj is saying. तरी मागेला ध्वनिया तू मज गमला सावयाची मोहितू A lot of things he's saying. Arjuna, jene bhede tujhe ka chitta bodhe, taise taise vinode diru tujhe. Now I'm going to tell you step by step everything, but I shall tell you everything in details, and so that you understand everything. तो काहीसे हा नामयोगू तयाचा कवणा उपयोगू अथा अधिकार प्रसंग कोण आहे. I'm going to tell you everything, and step by step I'm going to raise your authority as well. The person who himself is author is telling this. I shall raise your authority at that level where I am also living. Arjuna, Shri Krishna is telling to Arjuna. तो काहीसे हा नामयोगू त्या कवणाचा उपयोग अथवा अधिकार प्रसंग कवणा येतं. आय एम गोइंग टू टेल यू एव्हरीथिंग अँड यू विल ट्राय टू अंडरस्टँड इज एज वेल. ऐसे जे जे काही उक्त असे ये ठाई ते आगवेची पायी सांगेन आता. आय एम गोइंग टू टेल यू लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, एव्हरीथिंग इन फॅक्ट. तू चित्त देऊनी अवधारी ऐसे म्हणून श्रीहरी बोली जाईल ते पुढारी कथा आहे. नाऊ यू जस्ट लिसन टू मी विथ फुल कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन. All your whole soul, give it to me, devote to me, and listen to me with whole your, this sangat, bodies and everything. Then I shall tell you everything. Shri Krishna Arjunaशी सांगू ना सांडूनी सांगेल योगू तो व्यक्त करू प्रसंग म्हणे निवृत्त. Now what Shri Krishna is going to tell to Arjun, I am going to tell you in the next chapter. That is what I mean. Dnyaneshwari Maharaj is saying. इति श्री श्रीमद् भगवद गीता उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुन संवाद योग गर्भो नाम पंचमोध्याय. श्री सच्चिदानंद अर्पणमस्तु. This adhyay had 29 verses, Shlok, and OV 180. Now you see, in every adhyay, now almost it has touched the 6th chapter, where the yoga is told. In the 5th chapter already he has told the crux of the 6th chapter of Gita, and Dnyaneshwari Maharaj is going to tell all these things in 6th chapter of Gita. How difficult that yoga path is there, and still people are trying. In India there are millions of people who are trying. All these sadhus and saints and sannyasis are there, and many of them have reached that state as well. There is no count to that. And you might be knowing about Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and all those things. So a lot of people know that. What I can tell you. So ultimate message of Shri Krishna is you have to become yogi, the bhakta, live in state of that mind, and try for work is worship, so that you achieve the enlightenment, become self-realized soul, and you live a life, and you achieve whatever has to be achieved in a human life. Thank you very much.